All right, we should be live. How is everybody
Happy New Year.
doing?
Can you still say that? Or is it too
Happy,
late? Happy New Year.
I've been
Happy New
admonished for
Year.
it recently, but Happy New Year.
Indeed. I'm going to post our go lives. But yeah, I think that this is the appropriate time to talk about the games of the year of 2025 and not in the middle of December when there's still games coming out.
It actually was really nice. I got to finish up a couple
Mm-hmm.
and not feel as rushed. So I loved it.
And you get to reflect too. I mean, like Jan 1, I might feel differently about this set of games. I mean, we were talking about it before we went live. I switcherooed something for my top three to honorable mentions. Even in the pre-show setup. So it's always a moving picture.
Indeed. Yeah, it's interesting because this year, I think more than any other year, I did not finish all of the games that were on my list to finish. There were so many games out, and I played a lot of games. I played more than most years as well. So I think that just speaks to the quality.
I think it was a good year. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a really good year for games. I had the same problem. Like when I was making this list, like uh, you know, uh, Expedition 33 didn't quite finish it. It's amazing. Could have been on this list probably. Death Stranding 2 didn't finish it. I just fell off on that, which is what happened to me on Death Stranding 1, to be honest. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I took like a 3-year hiatus after the first 20 hours and came back to it and like jammed through it. So I imagine something similar will happen there. But yeah, can't exactly put those ones on my list without knowing what happens in the end. But I'll enjoy finishing them up at some point.
Yeah. And
Both of
that's.
them are pretty boring at the end. Nothing wild happens at all in either one of
Oh
those
no,
games.
nothing. Certainly not in Kojima's game, I'm sure.
No. Uh-uh. It certainly doesn't take a wild left turn that I'm not sure is set up at all, but is it
Wait,
still
which one?
pretty entertaining. Two.
He's doing that thing where he's talking about both. He's saying things that are
Oh,
Also
nice.
both. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like with Kojima, it's fine. You come to expect that with the games that he makes. With Expedition 33, I expect something deeply emotional and heartbreaking and like all of that. Like I expect all of that, and I don't know quite where it's gonna go, and that's okay. It's good. It's so out of the structure, I feel like, of
only
you know AAA games, contemporary games, that anything could happen, and I wouldn't be shocked. Although I probably will be shocked in the moment.
Are we giving away our most anticipated game of 2026 award this time?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We also have our esports award to give away.
Best
What?
mobile esports free to play game.
That's right.
Sorry,
I'm
best
missing the joke.
community support for the community for the esports on mobile.
We've been to a lot of game awards,
Okay.
including last night at the New York Game Awards,
Yeah,
which was mostly good.
it was mostly good.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
You liked it.
Pikachu and
There was a
Eevee were
demo.
there.
You and Eevee, the real ones.
Yep.
The real ones.
The
Yeah.
real ones.
Reggie
Wow.
Fils-Aimé.
Fils-Aimé reprised his "My Body Is Ready" line many a time.
Mm-hmm. And the surprisingly cute director of Lies of P.
Hmm.
Yeah,
He was a
who would have
cutie.
known?
Okay.
In from international waters. Cool. Should we get started, I think?
Let's do
Is
it.
the randomizer ready? We went round robin last year, but I think we're gonna step up the production value a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna make it a game to talk about our games of the year. First off, let's introduce ourselves. We are Up at Night. We are a game
Mhm.
studio in New York City. We've been making games for, gosh, now 16 years together.
Mm.
What a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And we've got 4 games out, and we're working on a bunch more. So if you'd like to find out about what those are, and also join us for more chats like these, you can go to our Patreon, which we are just using as a newsletter at this point. You can join for free, and it is patreon.com/upatnightgames. So check that out. That's It's to your right on my screen on the stream. Nope, sorry, other way. There we go. Yep, that's it. Um, yeah, I think you're mirrored in Discord. That's fun. Uh, so, without further ado, let us pull up the randomizer. Here it is. Okay, so can you see the wheel?
No, but
No.
we don't need to.
Okay. Uh, fair enough. Let me, yeah, all right.
Sure. Just
It's gonna
tell me
change
if it's
everything.
me.
All right, here it goes. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh,
The first game up is Warhammer 40K.
hell
Oh,
yeah.
that's me. Nice.
That is
Okay.
you.
Woo.
This is a game that is not new. Let's be clear. This is not like a totally fresh 2025 game, but it is a game that meant a lot to me in this particular past year. Just kind of deeper context. I've played Warhammer at some capacity and collected Warhammer since I was a wee lad. When I walked into a game store in my local mall. Got away from it for a really long time until a coworker about a decade ago had his models in the office one day, and I asked him, what's that? He's like, you wouldn't know anything about this. It's some real nerd shit. And I was like, try me. And it was Warhammer. And then I went to a game with him at a game store and was hooked. And yeah, I've been really into it again. It was an excellent COVID hobby. Got really into it from the perspective of not only like the artistic side, like I really enjoy painting. I also really enjoy converting, like getting your kits, cutting them up, making new stuff out of them that aren't like models that anyone else has. I really like retro models that kind of harks back to my previous days. But what was especially fun for me this year was I got way more interested and like into the tournament scene. So I played in 2 big tournaments this last year. I played in the Atlantic City Open, which, as the name suggests, was in Atlantic City, and I played in the New York Open. Played 2 different armies. Also, brought 2 different armies to like fully painted tournament ready standard 2,000 points, which is the army size for the sort of like standard competitive Warhammer games. Didn't do amazing in either of the tournaments, to be perfectly honest. I went 2-5 in Atlantic City Open and 1-2 in New York Open before having to drop because my son got incredibly sick and threw up all over our car the first night of the tournament. But it was just a blast. Really, really fun events, especially ACO, and New York Open is the video that's playing right now, assuming you put that on. But I went out to Atlantic City with a buddy and we stayed there for a few days and just like really fun to meet people. Like the community has changed a lot, I think, since this initial competitive scene came out. I think it used to have a lot of just sort of like bad vibes around it. It's sort of like a pretty like intense, like you manage the rules type game. And I think that there was a lot of like cheating, dice fudging, distance fudging, since you're measuring with like an actual measuring stick. Like that was kind of known in the community as being pretty common. But I think it's changed a lot in the last 5 years or so. People have gotten really like aware that this game is a shared experience that you play with someone else for 4 hours. So like don't be an asshole while you're doing it, and you're both gonna have a better time. And also, similarly, if you're really intentional about your rules and really, communicating with your opponent, like they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. They want to know what your rules are. They don't want to get gotcha'd, as kind of is a common terminology in the community. Like you don't want to lose on something that you didn't know about. You also don't want to like, give your opponent a million takebacks, right? So there's this kind of fine line of the social contract that exists in this game, which I think is really an amazing place where people are generally really cool. It's like really fun to spend time at the table with someone. Like I had the worst fucking game I've ever played at New York Open, like just so unlucky. Like my opponent basically all-in'd me. I had 4 different situations where I could have like combated that, and it's a dice game. Everything came up once for me. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, like giving him the deck. But I also was like a really good sport about it. It's like one of the most memorable games I played all year because it was that bad. And it just was a blast. I love this game. I love rolling dice with friends. I love drinking beer with friends at Atlantic City Open. My first opponent was amazing. My second opponent handed me a beer before our game. My third opponent bought me a beer after our game. Like it's just this really, really fun community. And I'm so glad that I finally have gotten a couple armies. I won't say to the standard of done that I want, but like to the standard of like they look really good on the tabletop. I'm really proud of the stuff that I put together, and they're really fun armies to play too. So yeah, just been an awesome year for Warhammer for me. It's the last year of Warhammer 40K 10th edition, so it's about to change pretty dramatically. They do like release a balance slate every 3 months, so the game, quarter over quarter often looks quite different in terms of what's like competitively viable. So yeah, really cool, ever evolving game. Had the most fun that I've ever had with it, especially competitively this last year. Yeah, it rules.
Do you have any of your figurines on you right now?
Right now, no, but I could go get one when someone else is talking.
Okay, that was my first question.
It's a good question. I'm in the bedroom right now, so.
Fair enough. My second question was, I saw Beyblade in here. How important is Beyblade to the tournament?
I think they had a Beyblade side tournament at New York Open. It wasn't just a 40K tournament. It was an amazing event that had a bunch of different miniature games. And then I did not participate in the Beyblade tournament, but it's also a painting competition. Yeah, just generally awesome event put on every year. Really want to play again. Really sad I had to drop day 2.
Third question. So you specifically mentioned that you're playing 10th edition. What does that mean?
Mhm. Good question. So basically every 3 years, I don't know if that's always been the cycle, but every 3 years they release a new edition of the game. The edition is essentially the core rule set. And then there's usually a couple layers of like what the statistics of your specific units are and special rules associated with them. There's a lot of like common things between editions, like for example, like there are elves, there are space marines, and then there are orcs. And like elves typically have toughness 3, space marines typically have toughness 4, orcs typically have toughness 5. Like that stuff is usually consistent from edition to edition. But usually the like underlying game mechanics, like how you score points, how you win the game, changes from edition to edition. 10th edition specifically. Yep.
Cool.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna say 10th edition specifically. We're trying to make this like a much more accessible edition. I think it's debatable how well they succeeded in that. A lot of things are standardized, but also a lot of things are very specific. Like each unit has its own special rule, and some of them are like a special rule that is common across other units, but most of them are like nuanced. So it's a little bit more complicated in that regard, but the sort of like general mechanism behind the scoring and the like mission that you're playing, like all that stuff is a little bit more standard.
Gotcha. So there's 10 40Ks. That's like 400K.
Yeah, when I started, it was 3, third edition.
Well, that's pretty cool. So this is something you're going to keep
Yeah,
doing and might be a game of the year next year as well.
not impossible. Although my most competitive buddy is about to have his first child this month. So I'm about to lose him. My other most competitive buddy moved to Syracuse, basically. And yeah, it's going to be something I have to, I think, take a little bit more agency on myself to, meet people or extend the relationships of people that I met at these tournaments, or
Yeah.
I don't know, just be less introverted and go to a tournament by myself if I want to be more competitive with. I certainly have a bunch of hobby stuff sitting on my desk right now. Some old metal models I bought myself for Christmas and that sort of stuff. So I definitely will be into the artistic side in this year. Whether or not I play as many games and tournaments as last year, we'll see.
Nice. All right. Well, that was your first game of the year. Thanks for kicking us off. I think let's move on to another one.
Ooh.
Which means we're going back to the wheel.
We love games.
The wheel of games. Oh, it already got removed. Nice.
Oh, good job, Wheel.
Okay, cool. Didn't know it did that. Anyways, here we go.
It's gonna be me again, isn't it?
Probably.
That's how randomness works.
No, it is in fact Cronos, the New Dawn.
Oh,
Which is
yay!
a Nathan game, and you have custom footage for it
That's
as
some good
well.
games. Nice, yeah. Yeah, so this is a game I just barely managed to sneak in there at the end of the year. I came out, I want to say sometime in the mid-year, and I kind of heard some mixed things, so I didn't kind of jump right on it. And over the Christmas break, I had some extra time and bought it on a whim and absolutely loved it. I finished it. I kept playing it a little bit into the beginning of Jan of this year, but I'm gonna still last year. Yeah, so Cronos is a survival horror game. Probably obvious. It is from Bloober Team, the Polish development house who are responsible for the most recent, the only, I guess, remake of Silent Hill 2, as well as a number of other games in the kind of survival horror and horror adjacent space. They actually have a much longer history going back to I think like PS2, but I think around like 2016 they kind of really fell into this horror groove. And I've played basically every game that came out that they put out since then. So that's
Yeah, I
Layers of
think
Fear
Layers of Fear
1,
was
2.
the first one that I heard of them
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Blair Witch, which actually is pretty good. Better than the movie that it came out alongside.
Wait,
The
wait, wait,
media.
wait, wait. The real
No, no,
movie,
no,
the original movie?
no, the like 2020 Blair Witch remake.
Oh, they rebooted that? I didn't know that. And I
They
didn't know
reboot
there was a game,
everything.
but I'm interested.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
there's a
sure.
game. It's by this dev. But my favorite Bloober Team game is one called Observer, which is like this really weird noir cyberpunk investigation, like memory hacking game. And so when I played this, I heard a lot about Dead Space, and what I really saw in it was a lot of Observer, kind of following the footsteps that they had laid with that. Great kind of like sci-fi mildly fantasy time traveling story with a lot of body horror. I'm getting a lot of Cronenberg in it. People say Dead Space, but I'm really getting Cronenberg for whatever reason.
I
Um,
feel that too with this, just the stuff. This is my first time seeing it. The stuff on the walls, very Cronenberg.
yeah. A lot of really gorgeous settings. These like it's kind of set in a alternate dimension 80s Poland, I believe, which is again where the developers from. So I always love to kind of see developers inserting their own experience and their own kind of like culture into games. It's something that I feel like we're seeing more and more, less games that are just kind of generic for the American or global audience or whatever, but games that kind of really take pride in, the heritage of the teams, which is not like these weird zombies. Another thing I love about this game is it's low-key a Christmas game. You can see there's kind of this Christmas tree in the background right here, and so every once in a while, just out of nowhere, it's set at Christmas, and you'll just stumble into a room where there's like a Christmas tree, and I love it.
Love that.
Yeah, there it
Oh yeah,
is.
there it is.
Uh, but yeah, it's a gorgeous game despite being kind of disgusting. Just like really, really good survival horror gameplay, gunplay. I think Bloober Team is like really one to watch now if they weren't already. Um, Proving it with Silent Hill 2, and I'm hearing exciting things from them, whatever they're doing next. So let me see. I think I have a couple more notes. Really great like level design. I had a ton of fun kind of exploring the levels very systematically. You have a little green light on your gun that when you have your reticle on an enemy that's down, it'll tell you whether or not they're still alive or they're dead. You know, it has that
Mm,
kind of like
Ooh.
and pop up. But it's like whenever you're aiming, it's off to the left corner of the screen, so it's not really in line of sight. You like kind of have to look back and forth. It's kind of bad in a good way. Like it's hard to keep track of. The same way like you watch Aliens and see their motion tracker, and you're like, that doesn't tell me any information. That's like a random ping. That doesn't tell me where the alien is. But it keeps
Hmm.
it really and strategic and yeah, it's quite fun. I absolutely love this game.
Is this built in Unreal?
It is, yeah. I think it's Unreal 5. Yeah, yeah. Really, in also they vary the spaces. They have this outside kind of environment that's like very Silent Hilly. Obviously, they're very into their Silent Hill kind of universe these days. You have these interiors that are like destroyed and kind of post-apocalyptic, flesh everywhere, and then there's a time traveling component. So you go back to these same places in the previous day when everything's kind of pristine and like wood and
mm.
like gothic and
Cool.
just yeah,
I was
great
wondering what the
environments, great
Kronos
levels.
part was.
It's, I mean, it is definitely a time traveling story. There is nominally some kind of time puzzles in the game. They're not really. They're more like you point your laser beam at this thing and it moves it from where it was to where it is now or where it was before. So you can kind of move objects through time, like this right here is going to kind of pull
Hmm.
you in. Yeah. Um, it's fine. It's not the best time travel game, but the level or the story around it, I found quite fun.
Very cool. It looks too scary for me, but I'm glad you enjoyed
It
it.
might be.
Yeah, what's the jump scare factor? Like 1 to 10?
It actually has some really nice kind of. I don't know if it's actually FMV, but it has kind of that FMV quality that Alan Wake had, where just every once in a while, like a face would take over the entire screen. Which those were probably the worst jump scares. Everything else was just very tense, kind of like
Hmm.
survival horror. Like I'm running around with no health, hoping I find one shotgun shell that will maybe help me survive. So a lot
Hmm.
more tense scares, but yeah, some fun jump scares that got me. Had to laugh at myself afterwards.
I don't think
Yeah.
Nolan would laugh at himself after a jump scare.
No, I would be behind the couch and the controller somewhere else, and yeah. No, thank you. But yeah, that I'm glad that Bloober Team is coming into their own. I know they have had kind of a rocky reputation. I played Layers of Fear and liked it all right, but haven't really played anything since. I
They
was thinking
they've
of
kind of
maybe doing
always had
Silent Hill because I've played the
yeah they've kind
original,
of always
but
had like a 7 out of 10, which I say that as someone who like 7 out of 10s are kind of my favorite games. Right? They're trying some new things. Maybe they're a little bit broken. They're
Mm.
not the most polished. But I always kind of love those, and I think they really are stepping it up with this and from everything I've seen from Silent Hill, what they're doing there. They're yeah taking it to the next level.
great. Anything else you want to say? Any other questions? Let's keep it moving. All right, back to the wheel. Okay, here we go. Spin, spin, spin. And up next is, ooh, just by a bit, Skate.
Oh, that's me again. I can stop watching
That is you,
the
yes.
stream. Uh, cool. Skate. Little bit of a preamble, kind of similar vein to Warhammer in that this like goes back a ways for me. I skateboarded growing up. It is still a like culture I have a deep affinity for. It's still a thing that I do um, every once in a while. Not as much as I would like, but I'm trying to get my son into it. When we're down in North Carolina, we do it a little bit more than we do up here, just because of ease of having like a garage and sidewalks and stuff. But I still frequent skate parks whenever I can. Really love skate culture and really loved it up through high school and into college, where Skate 3 was like one of my perfect games. It just was like end of the day, back from school, done with work, whatever, just like get totally obliterated on the couch and just play this game for hours and hours and hours with my roommates. So I was concerned why there wasn't a like Skate 4 for so long. And finally this year it came out. The game is called Skate, I think, but it's Skate 4. I think it's a lot of the same people. It is an EA release, which does mean that the biggest con of this game, or at least in some people's perception, I'll make an argument against it, but the biggest con is that it is very like loot boxy and like cosmetic driven and like all that kind of stuff. Counterpoint, this is a free game that I spent no money on and I will not spend any money on. And I've played it as much as I've played any other game, video game this year, with the exception of maybe Expedition 33. And I have a bunch of cute outfits for my characters. Like they look good enough without the paid cosmetics. So what's good about this particular game? The mechanics are stellar. This is an amazing mechanical game. This is what skateboarding should feel like. It's a perfect physics sandbox, is what this game is. I mean, you could make the argument, if you want to get all academic on it, like, is this a toy or is this a game? Like, there are quests that you have to accomplish, high scores, like the kind of like you know Tony Hawk-esque type structure around this game. But the way that I play this game is I sit down, I find a spot in the world, like in the level that I like. And I try to do as many cool tricks from the perspective of like being realistic as possible. Make no mistake, you'll see plenty of videos of this game of people doing like backflip Christ airs off of buildings through windows, like that part of it exists. There's like a whole sort of like weird narrative of like, I think they called it Impervatech, which is this like company that makes it so that you can't get hurt, so you can jump off like buildings and stuff. So there's this like built into the narrative. Bit
Like
of bit
Chell's
of
ankle
thing in there.
braces in
Yeah,
Portal, so you
exactly.
can fall an infinite amount of height on your face,
Yeah,
and your ankle braces save
and
you.
and your ankles won't break.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So there, there's a little bit of that stuff going, but really, yeah, where this game is at its finest is like exploration, finding new spots. I will say that the level, and they've been working on this, it is a season pass style game where they've been releasing new content for it. And they rotate the community parks, but most of the community parks suck. I just want more good street spots, basically. More stuff that's designed like to look like real iconic skateboarding spots. Like there's a few of them in there. There's like these like San Francisco dock things and like some like ledges and rails that I'm like, oh yeah, that's the spot from the real world. They need more of that. And they've been expanding as well, like the amount of tricks you can do, like some of the passes, or not even the passes, but like some of the new content they've released is like, okay, now you can do this trick, and then they have like a quest to teach you how to do it and that sort of stuff. So, but like I said, this is not a game that I play for the structure. It's not a game I play for the daily quests. It's like a game where whether you have 20 minutes or 3 hours and it really like you can hit the flow state trying to do something like this, like it hits the same. It's like a really, really nice, like it's like a fidget wheel. It's like a really, really nice itch to scratch your brain, especially if you love skateboarding. and you love trying to do things that are like, cool and realistic. And like I do some things that are like with messing with the system a little bit, but for the most part, I'm like trying to make something look smooth and something that like, replicates the kind of tricks that I like doing or seeing in real life or in pro skate videos or that sort of stuff. And the community behind it's really cool too. Like I see a lot of TikToks where people are trying to make like shot by shot edits of their like favorite skate parks, where they'll like find a spot, whether it's like a true spot from the real world or like a similar like sized rail or stairs or whatever. Like there is a like really nice video recording like feature within the game that people will like set up the camera angle exactly the same way and like try to dress their character exactly the same way as what the pro's wearing from that like iconic video part. So there's that kind of cool thing. There's also some like really fun trolling. You can place objects in the world, so like ramps and rails and stuff. And I've seen a bunch of people like there's this I referenced the like doing a Christ air through a window. There's this church window that early on in the game people would like always go there. It was like the most like I don't know, viral spot. And some people would like stack ramps up through the window so no one could do their trick through it. They just would like smash into it. So I love that there's this, because it is also like an online game in a sense. Like you can party up with people, you can like see other people going around in it. And you can have people, messing up what you're trying to accomplish, like putting a ramp or a rail in front of where you're trying to land something awesome. So yeah, really fun game. We'll see what they do with like continued content expansions and all that. Like I think one of the sentiments I've heard is that the player base has fallen off pretty hard. Just with regards to like the map is not super big and some of the season passes have been underwhelming. But like I said, it's a free toy that has amazing physics, and also Remy approved. So that's another reason why I keep booting it up.
You taught me a bit of it.
So is it, you were saying it's an online game, so it looks kind of like it's an MMO, is that correct? And were the other
That's the
games
vibe.
like
I don't
this?
know. That's the vibe. It feels almost like, I mean, the comparison I'll make just because I'm playing it right now is like Sky Children of Light, where it's like I assume they have like subsets of servers that you can be on. It's not like you log in and every single concurrent player is within the same space.
That's how all MMOs work.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Well, to more and lesser degrees or bucket size, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but there's no collision with other players.
Correct. Yeah.
Because that's a big. I think it would feel more like an MMO. If
How quickly can you throw down a ramp? Is this like
I think
Fortnite
it would be
build mode over
pretty
here?
quick. Pretty quick. Not like
Someone's
Fortnite build
coming
mode, but
towards
it's
you.
pretty quick.
You can't. Yeah, you can't just like throw one in front of somebody while they're.
I think it would be pretty funny if you ran into other players. Like it would be frustrating, but there would be some really good comedy, I think, that would come out of it.
Sure. You can imagine
mean-
that like designers fighting over that, and some developers just being so stoked that they agreed to not do collisions because it would have created so much more work for them.
The Mario
I mean, the
multiplayer
tracking would be
games where you collide with each other are just pure chaos. So I can't even imagine when it's like there's such a a flow and a line to it that when if someone else is coming the other way, then you would some players might get upset.
It is it would be upsetting because it is hard. I mean, it is a hard game like to do well. Like there are times when I work on a trick for what feels like 20 minutes or something to get it exactly the right trick, exactly the cleanliness of how I want to get into it and get out of it. If you're doing a line with like multiple tricks, like obviously it's easy to screw that up. So yeah, to do all that and to be like working on a line for 2 hours and then like there's just a person at the bottom of the stair set that you're flipping over at the end of it, and it's just like, oh well, shoot, that was the one, right?
It's not a like press a button to do a trick game, right? You're like drawing like circles and lines and stuff with the sticks to determine what your board does, and physics based.
It's effectively like a pop mechanism for most of the tricks, where it's like you're pulling it down and then hitting it up. I remember when I first played, I think I didn't play Skate 1 or 2, or maybe I played them really briefly, but when I first started to get into Skate 3, it was quite a quite a wake up call from like the Tony Hawk style of game, where like A is ollie, X is kickflip, or actually that may not even be right, but like you don't have sort of this sort of stick mechanic. It's a lot more button based.
Yeah.
It's no Snowboard Kids.
I love Snowboard Kids too, though.
Sweet. Well, yeah, this looks pretty fun. Glad you enjoyed it. Anything else to say about it?
No, those are the big ones. Like again, want more spots, especially street spots. That I feel like the spots they keep giving are like these like stupid parks that are just like, what if this was like the most big ramp ever? And I'm like, that's not really why I'm playing this game.
Right? It's
Yeah, so I wish they would appeal a little bit more to, because like the player that I am, I think is more likely going to be the player that sticks around with this game. Like the player that just wants to like launch themselves off of stuff. Like they have the ramps in the game to do that. Whereas me, like I like look at a spot sometimes and I'm just like, yeah, I kind of sessioned that like, when I first picked up this game, I would really love something that's like a little bit different, a little bit more unique. Or like I said, representative of something that exists in reality.
Nice. Well, another game that you might be playing next year as your game of the year.
Possible.
All right, let's move on. Let's pull up that wheel.
Man, I gotta see it this time.
Okay, here we go. It is Silent Hill F.
Oh my God, you're making me go again.
Yeah, it's you again. The wheel has.
All right. The wheel has spoken. Well, that's good. I can get a bathroom break after this one.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool. Okay. I'm not going to belabor this one, not just because you've already heard me talk 3 out of the 4 first games, but also because we did a 2 hour plus spoiler cast on this game, which I highly recommend you go and check out if you want to be spoiled on it. And if you want to play the game, then don't.
90 minutes.
Anyway, for me, this was a really long overdue dip into the Silent Hill franchise. I never played any of the other games to completion. I was too scared. Was too scared of this game too, but you know what? I just did it. There was something about it that was calling to me. The visual and audio direction of this game are impeccable. It is a really, truly unsettling and unique plot for a AAA game. I think the length is excellent. It's not a long game. Encourages repeat playthroughs. I genuinely had my mouth wide open during a lot of these cutscenes. They were horrifying. I did not love the combat, but I did find the level design, especially the enemy placement, to create some truly excellent jump scare moments. This is like what a horror. This is like peak horror game design, I think, in a lot of ways, and it was really, really good and really, really fun. Just for me, I mean, truly terrifying though too. There were lots of moments where I'm just like, something is following me, and the audio design is behind me, and I cannot like even sit still. This is horrifying. But I loved every minute of what it made me feel in a world where, media sometimes doesn't make you feel anything. It makes me want to play more Silent Hill games and just generally more horror games. I've been getting some cool indie looking games on my TikTok lately, probably because I liked a lot of Silent Hill content along the way to the release of this. Some of the games I have my eye on for this year are Obey the Voice and Unmourned, which both look truly, truly, truly terrifying. And I don't know if I'll actually make it through them, but you know what? I like seeing these videos pop up. I like the design. I like the aesthetic. This is, I think, a wake up call for me as someone who is not like a traditional, who loves horror movies, but is not like a traditional horror gamer. I'll leave it there. We've said so much about this game. I don't need to rehash all of it, but it's awesome. It's my game of the year. It was that good. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
I think we talked about it.
Send you to it.
And it was also great to see at the New York Game Awards last night this come up multiple times as a nominee. I don't think it won anything, but yeah, just really great all-around presentation. And would love to see. I still want to go back and play more of the endings so I can get some more of the story. So We'll probably be playing more of this in the early morning of 2026.
Love that for you.
All right. Let's move back to the wheel. All right, we've got just a couple more. Half down. And the next one is Sorry We're Closed. This is one of
You get
mine.
one.
I finally got
Hey.
one. So yeah, this is a loop you, thank you. Sorry We're Closed is from a tiny team called Akupara Games. And it's just a very stylish, low poly, uh, fixed camera, demon, punk, weird game. It's got gameplay like Killer 7, where you're kind of going first person and shooting weak points on demons. I don't know. It's pretty short, but it's very impactful. I love the style. I love the writing. It just was a great game to play. And there's just enough replayability to come back, make some different choices. It really grapples with,
Mhm.
um, what it means to be a human, what it means to be a demon. Is there a difference? Are they just people? It's kind of a cliche question, but I think it deals with it very well. And it, yeah, starts off with a Grace Jones looking demon deciding that you need to love her, and you get to decide if you want to or not. So I don't know. I
Good
know
deal.
Nathan, you also played this and were a big fan.
This game rules. Everything
This
about it. Like
aesthetic
it's
is, yeah, I love this aesthetic. This is my first time seeing this.
so
This
good.
is like, I mean, just from the like, retro style, obviously like low poly, I love, but just generally, this is like the camera angles, the colors, like that
Colors, yeah.
is a beautiful game.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
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 like what if we made Silent Hill, but instead of dingy rust color, the old school Silent Hill, we like put a bunch of neon punk into it, and yeah,
Mhm.
and
there's a
well, I was gonna say sexy demons, but Silent Hill also has sexy demons, so
yeah.
sexy in a
Again,
good way.
again, go back to the spoiler cast. We
Right.
went
Don't
through this.
don't think Silent Hill has any winged horsemen.
That is probably true. At least, yeah, not animated. Um, but yeah, it just I like all the choices they made, all the chances they took, and
Yeah,
highly recommend everyone check it out. It's
I
pretty
think
What is
that
this
short.
on?
It's on
everything.
PC, console, yeah, wherever.
Okay,
I know
I'm
at
interested.
least PlayStation 5, I think on Xbox as well. I'm not sure about Switch, but I think it
I
is
think
as
it's
well.
Xbox Switch. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everything.
So go check it out. Yeah, it kind of was a sleeper this year, but I think that it deserves a lot of attention. And I hope that
Yeah.
this team keeps making games because I want to play whatever they decide to
Wait,
do
was it their
next.
first game?
I think it is. I think it's their debut game. Um,
Yeah, I think they're really bold first game, like big swing and fucking knocked it out of the park.
is that true? No. Hang on. So, uh, maybe Akupar is not the actual developer. Maybe that's the publisher. Yeah, it's a la Mode Games. Sorry, correcting myself. Um, but yeah,
In
I think
your
I think it's like two
estimation,
people
not
or
not
something.
with. Oh wow, that's sick.
Yeah.
Nolan, in your estimation, what does it mean to be a demon? Without spoiling the game.
Uh, what it means to be a demon. is that you, uh, I guess, you have a lot of rules placed on you and a lot of
Hmm.
expectations,
Mhm.
right? There's a certain role that you're expected to fill,
Hmm.
and whether or not you can, you know, deviate from that role and remain a demon, I think is one of the game's questions.
Hmm.
Man, when you pull off like the perfect combo on the weak points, it just feels so good. Also, that I forget what this was, the Heartbreaker, I want to say.
Something like that, yeah. No,
Really
it's
on the
so
nose, but like
good.
very good, very good.
Yeah, so if you yeah, it'll pop up a bunch of weak points at the same time. Like it starts with I think 3 and then gets up to 5 and you have to like quickly shoot all of them, and if you shoot all of them without missing any, then you get like a super shot, and so then you can like
Yeah.
break past uh some of the weaker enemies, or sometimes you need to use it to like break bigger locks. It's so good. It just works, and then you can like there's little upgrades to make it so you can like stun things so that it on harder difficulties, you actually have a chance. Um,
Hmm.
but
It,
yeah, I don't know.
there
It's
was like
it's very
a lot of
satisfying.
optional side stuff too.
Hmm.
Like I missed a lot of stuff. I felt really dumb. Like I didn't get the right thing out of the kitchen, and like there's a ton of kind of character interactions you can have and side stories, and like definitely a lot of replayability.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
think so. I 100%ed it, and I think I ended up playing it 4 times through. I think if you're like careful, you only need to play it 2 or 3 times, or maybe two, and then you can choose a different ending. I think there's 4 endings total, and
Hmm.
you can save right before the end and get different endings for a couple of them, but
Mhm.
there's different choices you can make to lock off different endings. Um, but yeah, it going through on New Game Plus, right? So you're like a little overpowered, and just like playing for the story felt really good too. So
Yeah,
you're
cool.
Hmm.
exploring and seeing like, oh, what does this do? And again, yeah, there's definitely missable stuff. Um,
I just remember the guy who's like in the toilet stall who's like giving you vague hints about the things he wants you to
yes,
bring him. And I gave him something that I thought meant it, and he was like, "No, you idiot." And then I was locked out of that piece of the story for the rest of the game. Like,
yeah,
but in a way
yeah.
that I kind of felt like I deserved it.
Right. And again, it's like short enough that I think it's okay that it does that, right? So it's
Yeah.
you make a better choice on your next playthrough.
Hmm.
Cool. Anything else to say about this? I think you'd like
Mhm.
it as
I
well,
have the tab.
Chris.
I have the tab open. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really interested in this. I have a tab open to get this.
Yeah, yeah. Go play it.
Mhm. Sweet. Back to the wheel. All right. 4 more games. Let's see. Statistically, it'll be me, but it is. Oh, we just passed South of Midnight into ooh. So it is me again. Um, sweet. Let's check out ooh.
Is that the official pronunciation?
I think so.
Okay.
It's yeah, ooh. I
You,
like to add a
you?
couple more. I think originally actually it had an extra O on it, which is interesting for gameplay reasons, which I'll get to.
Oh,
But first, I'll set it up. So this is um, a game where it's a little puzzle platformer. You play as a bomb caterpillar who is trying to escape a terrible situation, and it is the next game, the second game from Nama Takahashi, who is a solo dev. Um, I think his first game, or what I think is his first game, was Elec Head, ELEC. Head, which was also a puzzle platformer that I absolutely loved. So I was very much looking forward to this. And it's just great. It is a perfect game, I would say. It is one of those games that is an inch wide but a mile deep. You've got one mechanic, which is you can plant a bomb and then explode it. And the way that you use that one mechanic and like learn what all of the different ramifications of that mechanic are just brilliant. And in fact, it's a game where you can skip pretty much most of it if you've already figured out what's going on. But
Mm-hmm.
I think the structure of
Hmm.
it is what really uh, puts it at the top of my games of the year, because it's pretty much a linear path that has branches, and so you'll come up to a point where there's a trick that you have not learned, or if you do know what it is, and you can just advance. But if it's not, then it diverts you down a little
Mm.
spoke and, and teaches you how to do that thing, and then you get to the end and it pulls you back, and then you can advance. And it's just a series of those, like
Hmm.
4 or 5 of them. Pretty short game, but it by the end you learn everything without ever having looked at a text screen, without ever having done a formal tutorial, but it's teaching you in just all of these clever ways. And there's very little that you actually gain in this game. It's like a light Metroidvania, I suppose, because you can gain a second bomb at some point, but for the most part, it's just this one mechanic over and over again. This trailer is very short because the game is very short, and the longer trailers I saw just spoiled everything. So I was like, all right, let's find
Mm.
something. But no, I highly recommend it. It is just a game that puts me in awe at how elegant it is. It just the only stuff that's in it is what needs to be there. And then there's some like very dastardly post game challenges that I have not even been able to beat. So it has a perfect game and then a bunch of like extra stuff that is very smart afterwards. So huge fan.
How much of it? It's hard to tell from the trailer. It doesn't look like what. How much of it is a physical challenge versus, uh, you know, a puzzle?
Yes, so the stuff that's in the main game is mostly puzzle. There's a
Okay.
little physical challenge in it, but not much. Stuff in the end game can be very physical challenge.
Okay, so that's what you're struggling with is it's
Yeah,
become more kind of twitchy.
correct. Yep.
Cool.
Which is a little bit of a bummer, but also I think it kind of makes sense for what the mechanic is. So
Yeah.
I've just, determined that that is not something that I'm physically capable of doing. Also, though, it has since been patched to make it easier, so maybe I should give it
Good.
another chance. Um,
Do you think that patch was uh like community of reception or the dev feeling bad or like true intentional mistakenly too high difficulty?
I think it was mistakenly too high. I think after it released, the dev was like watching people do it and was like, "Oh, actually, this is really hard. So let me
Hmm.
make it a
Okay.
little easier." And to be clear, the actual um mechanics did not change. It's just that the challenges changed. The level design changed a little bit to make it easier.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, but these are some of my favorite types of games, right? That are just like little clever bombs where uh it's just constant eureka moments. And it's constantly making you realize that uh you could be doing something different, right? It's like you learn the way that the game works. It's not you're like getting a new ability. So
Mm.
you're like, oh, I could have done this all along. And in fact, the game is telling
Right.
you, hey, you could have done this all along. And if you want to do a speed run, right, then you can go right to the end. It's pretty quick in like a couple minutes.
Is
Wow,
it is it is
I
it a
love
fun
that.
game to see, or just like you knew how to do it at that point and you got through it one? Like, how much is there left to squeeze out of that?
Um, it wasn't necessarily a fun speed run for me because I do think it relies a little bit on that like twitchy side. Um,
Mm,
Hmm.
to do it fast, but it is satisfying to see like, oh, I just know how to do all of this now, right? To go back
yeah,
and see like I was so stuck here, no idea, and then oh, it's so obvious now.
yeah.
So again, highly recommend this game. And I'm gonna be following Nama Takahashi, who I think is also pretty young. I think he was a teenager when Elec Head came out. Like,
Oh, cool.
it is just truly impressive stuff. Looks great, plays great, smart puzzles, short. What what more can you want in a game?
Do we think the O in the logo is an umlaut or ears or both?
I thought it was the umlaut. It's definitely the ears.
It's the
So
ears,
there's
yeah.
no.
Right. I didn't actually get back to that point. So, right, it's a big O, umlaut. It's the ears with two other circles behind it. So I wonder if the
Hmm.
original title, which had three behind it, meant that it at one point you got three bombs
Mm-hmm.
instead of two.
And, right. Okay.
And
Might they still added it in?
yeah, and I hope that they smartly edited it. Because I know for like Elec Head, it started off, um, or like the original build of it was almost twice as big, and they just cut out everything, right?
Oh,
That was
that's
not
so.
critical to
It
it to make
should
it
have been
a
hard to
great game.
do as a. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean that's we've talked about this, but I think the right way to design a game, right, is to keep adding stuff until it's fun, and then you
Mm,
take away stuff until it's simple.
mm.
And a
Hmm.
lot of a lot of games just, maybe don't even finish that first part. But
Yeah,
that like editing is so important, I think, to make
Yeah,
a
yeah.
good game. At least the types of
agreed.
games that I love. Cool. That is ooh.
Ooh, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
It's on PC. PC
I think it's
only.
just on PC right now.
Yeah,
Alec
I'm
Head
looking. I
came to
must.
Switch, so possible
Cool.
it'll come to different platforms later. But again, it is
Here's.
yeah, just a solo developer. So move
Yeah,
slow.
yeah.
All right. Um, let's do another game.
Let's do
Got
it.
three
Hmm.
left. It's tilting in Nathan's favor now, but it's not gonna
Is it?
be
Oh, I do this.
because we have the
No.
Séance of Blake Manor is up
Oh, hell
next.
yeah. I'm
This
excited for
is
this.
my last game. All right. So this is a game from, I believe this is also a debut game, from Spooky Doorway, which is a great name for a game studio. But it is a mystery game. Not maybe a murder mystery game. You're investigating a missing person, at this manor, which is a hotel that is having a séance in 3 days. It's going to be, this whole big thing. Takes place in 19th century Ireland. People, there's a whole cast of weird characters from all over the world who have come in. with different relationships to the occult, their own reasons to coming to this seance. And you were, investigating the disappearance of Evelyn Dean, and you have your own dark, mysterious past, of course. But what's really interesting is every action takes a minute. So you have like 72 hours when you first start. Um,
Mhm.
and like investigating things takes a minute. Talking to people takes a minute on a certain topic, right? And
Mm.
so you have to make some and there's like 20 characters, so and a huge mansion for you to explore, so you have to make some real decisions in what you're going to pursue. I think this is like maybe good, maybe bad. I could have had it bucketed a little bit more perhaps, but it does really make it interesting, uh, in that you're like, okay, here are my choices for what to do, right? And it's not just like I'm gonna go click on everything and try and figure it out. Um, the other thing I really like about it is that you have mind maps for like everything, right? You uncover some other mysteries, and so like each mystery has its own mind map, like a conspiracy board that's like you're connecting pieces up, and each character has a mind map. And so as you're doing that, it like gives you clues for different angles for you to pursue. And so it's just this whole big like expansion of ideas as you're like putting everything together. And it like gets really big at first, and then the possibility spaces start to like shrink and shrink and shrink, and you're like, okay, well, this person definitely isn't the kidnapper, or
Mm.
this person was suspicious for this other reason. It's very fun. The writing's amazing. uh I've got
Mm.
Irish ancestors, so I really enjoyed seeing a lot of Irish mythology pop up, which you don't see a
Mhm.
lot. Um, it's pretty core to the
Was
story of the game. Gets a
is there a
little.
banshee?
Is there what?
Is there a banshee?
Is there a banshee? I will not answer that.
Okay, good.
There's
Are
a
banshees Irish?
Mhm.
um. They definitely talk about Finn McCool, so good stuff. Uh, yeah, I recommend it as well. It is a little buggy. It's a little rough around the edges. I did have a bug that prevented me from 100%ing it, which I know they were working on. I have to go back and check if they actually fixed it. And then there's just some like there's some weirdness with the UI that I
Hmm.
don't love. Um, but you can get past it, I think. At least I could, for the great writing and the great mystery. So and the great presentation as well. So I like it a lot. Uh, I think that you may have to like push past some weirdness at some parts, but it's definitely worth a play. Um, and yeah, I hope they get better and iterate on this system for their next game.
Yeah.
There's
It looks
ghosts
like
too. Yeah.
um there's good. Of course. I like what you said about the sort of like decision like limited time to make a decision, like Majora's Mask obviously being one of my favorite games ever, and when I first picked it up, that being like very shocking to me as a player, the sort of like anxiety you get from not being able to like be thorough. Um, but the sort of like limitation that a system puts on you with regards to like what you commit to doing and what you commit to seeing and what actions you actually have to live with or what actions you don't have to live with. So I like that that sort of manifests here and how they've designed that. Obviously, nod to game I've been working on for a long time too, or you can't possibly do everything all at once, right? In one playthrough. So it kind of promotes that, returning to it to see what different permutations of decision trees you can follow. So I like that that's something that they've done mechanically here.
And there may be some gay plot lines, so,
Maybe.
even better. All right, any other questions about the Seance of Blake Manor? Then let's move
Mm,
on back to the
let's do it.
wheel. Which
The Wheel of Nathan now.
yeah, which of Nathan's
Yeah.
games is it gonna be next? South of Midnight.
Right. I feel like I'm getting some lag on maybe my internet's slow, so apologies if I'm talking over you. I'm not meaning to.
All good.
Yeah, South of Midnight is a game from Compulsion Games, which is I believe, Montreal-based studio. I think it's their third game. They made a game called Compulsion, or not Compulsion. They made a game. I can never remember the game name of this game. Nolan, do you remember the name of the first game?
It's the happiness something
No, no, no. That's the second game. For whatever reason, I can never remember the first one, and
contrast.
I actually Contrast. I
Yeah.
really love Contrast. And I think this game kind of owes more to Contrast than it does We Happy Few. We Happy Few, became kind of like a first person, felt like very Bioshocky, like very gorgeous game. But I think this is like going back to the roots of the third person character action games. Um, yeah, you can see from the visuals here, it's absolutely gorgeous. It kind of has this like storybook and stop motion kind of aesthetic, but very polished at the same time. It's a game that's set in kind of an ambiguous American South, a magical, fantastic realism. No, just fantastic, I should say. American South, kind of blending together, like Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama, and I want to say Arkansas. The mountains that you get into and so some of the bigger areas feel a little bit more like you're going up into Tennessee and Arkansas.
Hmm.
So it's a very kind of very southern game. I grew up in the South for the first half of my life. I spent a lot of time in Louisiana and the Delta, Mississippi Delta region, and just like love it. We saw. Nolan and I went to the New York Game Awards last night, and we saw, I believe they won Best Music, the Tin Pan Alley
Mm-hmm.
Best Music Award, at the New York Game Awards. And the person who came up to accept the award, I believe, was a writer. I couldn't find her name on. I tried to Google it just ahead of time, but shout outs to her, great speech. And she said something, I think, in the voice of a player who, something that she had heard from people playing this game, is it just felt like home to them. And that's something that I felt, despite it being so heightened and fantastical. There's just so many small bits and pieces that really did make it feel like home to me. Some of it opens up in the scene where you're kind of running through like a hurricane, and just what it feels like to be in this type of in this environment, in those storms. Like, it just brought back such vivid kind of sensory memories for me. And the other thing, yeah, I think, is, a region, a place that is obviously has so much rich culture, history. I think especially around kind of music and storytelling and folk music and country and the blues and jazz. Um, it's not. I wouldn't say it's not well represented. I'd say it's just not really represented in games. And if it is, it's kind of a lot of stereotypes, a lot of ignorant Southern folks. And I think this is a game that really takes its characters seriously. It takes its setting and the culture and the cultures of its setting very seriously, and treats its characters with um, respect and dignity. And I think it's just absolutely gorgeous storytelling. And yeah, I love this game. It makes me very happy to see.
Yeah, especially with the music, I'll echo. They have some throughout, but especially during the boss fights, some dynamic music that is very effective, where it feels like you have like live accompaniment as you're, pulling off these very epic battles against mythological creatures and characters.
Yeah.
And uh, yeah, so they definitely across the board on presentation killed it. And I think, what we were saying with Blake Manor as well, where there's a sort of an underrepresented mythology. I think this too, right, where it's pulling on different aspects from some, different Southern American stories and myths, and pulling them together into this sort of broader world that makes it really interesting to explore.
It's
Um,
really, I find it fascinating you say that because I was just thinking how interesting it is that this came out in the same year that Sinners did.
mm-hmm.
Both
Mm.
are like very much about music. I was thinking, yeah, the moments that you're describing there, Nolan, where the kind of songs come to life and you hear narration describing the boss you're fighting and you're learning more about the character and the boss through the music. It it really felt of a similar wavelength to Sinners. And then when you mentioned kind of the Irish folklore, that was the other side of the coin in Sinners, right? Is that you have the American South and kind of
Mm-hmm.
the black culture there, and then you have the Irish culture and the kind of way those interplay and compare and contrast like the fact that all these three games came out in one year. I think is or two games in a movie came out in one year
Yeah,
is really interesting.
and they got hates in both.
They got Haints in both.
I
So,
love. I've not seen much of this until this trailer. I love the monster design. Like the scale again, kind of related to like all this being rooted in a fantastical South. Like really really cool interpretations. Like that catfish thing is amazing. Like this is yeah, this is really really beautiful and love the expanse. Like just echoing what you guys said, love the expanse of that mythology. It's cool to see it this interpretation.
and I think, yeah, really impressive how they pulled off this stop motion gameplay because it is
Mm.
running certain animations at a lower frame rate, but
Yep.
they just kind of smartly figured out when to break that rule and when not to.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
during exploration, maybe you'll be at a lower frame rate, but during combat you'll be at a little bit higher. And then certainly
Mm.
during cutscenes they drop it down, so it has a very fluid feel to it, even though it's very stylized.
Yeah,
I think it's been a cool. Oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Chris. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's been a cool year in general. I think for like animation nerds, like K-pop Demon Hunters is like the obvious other like big, not stop animation, but like reduced frame rate, like type style where there are certain moments where you can get away with like really interesting tweening because you're doing something that is like so. I won't say like non-standard, but like it's something that hasn't been as commonplace. So I feel like people are kind of like backlashing against like true realism in terms of like how fast can we get this, how like imperceptible to the eye relative to reality can we get this, that I feel like was we were pushing the limit of for a really long time, and it's become something that's a lot more artistic in a sense of not just trying to like totally emulate what reality looks like.
I think a lot of people watched Into the Spider-Verse and were like, hey, you know what, we should do that.
That's probably true. I didn't
Oh,
never
hey,
watch that, so
it doesn't just have to look like Pixar. Like you can
yeah,
actually do
exactly.
interesting things. Also,
Right.
shout outs to Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Also had a very cool art style, kind of
Nice.
after
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Verse in that similar vein as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it even affected like Nintendo, who finally in Mario Wonder figured out how to make dynamic poses in with their 3D characters. Right? That game looks great after a bunch of Mario 2.5D Marios that looked pretty bad. So they're, the tide is rising for everybody, and what a great year for games.
Absolutely.
I wish we had gone more southern with Thicket. This is my takeaway from
It's
this, because
time
a lot
for a
of the
remake.
trees look. I know, right? A lot of the trees remind me of the early tree explorations and like that kind of stuff that we worked on, and
Yeah.
it definitely makes me wish that we'd leaned into it even more.
We still got to do that North Carolina trip, and we can do some research while we're down there too.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. There's a lot of little
We'll do a
critters in my neighborhood, so.
thicket jam. All right, let's move on to our last game on the wheel. All right, let's spin it. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Oh, silly Poly Beast.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Surprise.
Okay. Silly Poly Beast is this weird game. I kind of feel like it's my last year's Withering Rooms, right? Not in that the gameplay is not super similar, but just in that it's this kind of eclectic, weird, like very small team built by a very small team, like kind of slips in under the radar, not a lot of press about, but it just absolutely clicks with me, and I kind of fall in love with. So the way I describe Silly Poly Beast is it is an action survival horror game with shifting perspectives, some side scrolling, some fixed camera, some top down kind of Hotline Miami style shooting, with I think some really nice kind of visual styling and UI inspired by games like Catherine and Atlas's,
Ooh.
especially looking at this bit coming up here. And then there's like a little bit of like a punk, almost pseudo 51 aesthetic to a lot of it here. So you could see it like switching perspectives a lot and doing kind of throwing a lot of different visuals at you in ways that can be kind of jarring and fun. Um, yeah, really cool, weird world. Polly like escapes from an orphanage that's terrible, and she's looking for her sister, and then she accidentally gets into the underworld down here, and she makes a deal with the devil.
When that
As it
happens.
happens,
As one does.
yeah, and then you have these. So now we're in this like Hotline Miami kind of style. Not quite as like tight in short loops, but very like action heavy, twin stick shooting, melee, and some really cool kind of variations they do on that, and some various.
Shawarma.
There's just a lot of weird stuff too. Like there's these mask collection, like hey ghosts. There's you have like frog enemies and pig enemies, but they're just ghosts wearing like frog masks and pig masks, and you collect them, and then you can do a ritual. There's a lot of kind of small mysteries to be solved. I think that's what kind of reminds me most of Withering Rooms, is it throws a bunch of stuff at you, and you're like, that's weird. I'm sure they'll never come back to that, and then they do, and yeah, I love it. It's a really fucking fun game. Skateboarding, there's some really hard skateboarding sections. They're like auto skaters.
Subway
But not
Surfer,
like
literally.
not like Subway Surfer.
This is literally Subway Surfer.
No,
Yeah.
no, no, it's not. Well, this is literally Subway Surfer, but no, it's not that. You definitely do not have three rails. They're very hard sections. Great music on these, and I also really like that they whenever like a needle drop happens, they do a like cut to black, say the name of the artist, and then play the music. So it's definitely like giving right here, Basin Panda, great song in this little section. Yeah, and I did a little bit of research about the developer of this. It's mostly a one developer team. It's a guy, Andrei Chernyshov, and he's I think mostly done mobile games up until this point. And he's obviously put a lot of time and care into this, and I think has some partners who have brought it to consoles as well. And did run into some bugs on the first playthrough. Jumped in the Discord, and he was kind of there personally responding to people and helping out. So Shout out to like having some great customer and community support there. I was like, look, I love the game. I'm gonna go ahead and give it 5 stars on my review. Just let me know when that bug's fixed so I can get back to it. And a week later it was fixed. Had to go through that
Nice.
extra on I was playing on Xbox, so I'm sure it would have been out quicker on Steam.
Yeah, it looks great.
Sick. Yeah.
It's I think I did buy it, but didn't get around to playing it. So I'll get to it eventually.
It definitely like I don't want to apologize for it. It doesn't have the depth or the breadth of Withering Rooms. It is more of kind of a here's a story, go through and play it. But it's so fun.
I mean,
My
hey, I
first
like that too.
reaction when I saw the intro was this developer loves FLCL.
Listen,
The sort of like degen girl on the outskirts of like really beautiful scenic area.
uh-huh.
A little bit less so. I mean, music being a central sort of thing. This is definitely like gorier and more like demonic than FLCL. But that's the aesthetic that I got initially. Is like the sort of like weapon that's not really a weapon, like it's guitars and FLCL. It looks like you're
Mhm.
always with a skateboard here. So I
And a
I
gun.
really much I really felt that and a gun. But I felt that resonance. Yeah, it's a guitar and a mech though.
Sure.
FLCL. So
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I really like the shifting fixed camera style, or I guess,
Mhm.
shifting
there it
from
is.
fixed camera to like follow cam. Um, it looks pretty seamless and stylish. So, uh, oh, there's an Alice as well. Okay, I was gonna say also is giving me, um, some Alice in Wonderland earlier as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah.
Mm. I'm a
all
sucker
comes
for
together.
camera behind two people talking with a beautiful um, sort of setting.
Yeah, this looks great. I'm definitely gonna be playing it at some point in the next couple months.
Awesome. Excited to hear what you think.
Yeah, and the 2D, you know, animations on top of the 3D stuff, like I love that as well. So it seems like a lot of smart choices to sort of punch up a very limited team.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sweet. So that's everything on our wheel, but we have some bonus games.
Bonus games.
Rapid fire honorable mentions.
Yeah, so here I'll put each of our names on it and we'll see who gets to go first on the wheel. All right. Here we go. And it is me. I get to go first. Definitely rude.
Yay.
Um, all right, so there's a bonus game that released in a previous year. Um, so this is I'll explain what the visuals are in a second, but um, mine is a book that I have right here. Is that reversed on camera? That is. That's too bad. Um, it's
No,
called
no, no. This is
Maze.
yours.
What? Just on mine? Oh, sweet.
Mhm.
Excellent.
For me, it's
Love
good.
that mirroring. Um, I actually do. I think that that's smart. Uh, but okay, it's called Maze: Solve the World's Most Challenging Puzzle by Christopher Manson. Um, and if you look inside it, there's a bunch of rooms in this book, and there's accompanying text. So it's kind of like a choose your own adventure.
Mhm.
And so you'll like enter this mansion and then pick where you're going, and it'll tell you go to different pages, and you're solving puzzles, right? And there's a bunch of just really interesting art throughout. There was I guess first, yeah, sometimes they get weird. But, um, so I learned about this game. I also like that there's a red herring on the front, of course.
That's very good.
I learned about this
Mm.
book through Blueprints, which is a game that I don't like at all. and played with my friends this year, or rather, they dragged me back in to finish all of it. But this was
A lot of people's end of year lists and much
it is,
beloved.
and a lot of people love it, and I think that it is an objectively bad game. Um, so, but I did like the premise of it. And when I found out that this book was inspiration for it, and it has some both implicit and explicit references in blueprints, I decided to track down a copy, which are pretty hard to get nowadays. But I really love it. I have not completed it yet. I'm kind of waiting for some friends to do it with me. But it is,
Is that a
if I
wink wink
can.
kind of?
Well, you are also welcome to do it with me, but that was not that was not it. There are some people who are interested in doing it with me. Um, right, but again, because the book is hard to get,
Yeah,
uh,
it is.
there was a couple of different. So that was a problem. Um, there's this unreleased version that's been digitized on the Philips CDI that
Oh
I
hell
think
yeah.
someone has dumped
That's what that
online. So
looked
it's
like.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, so this was colorized. So you can see like that's the cover there.
Right.
And I think it's pretty much identical. So that's one way that you can do it. You can play through it. But also someone recently I saw just dumped the entire game onto like a GitHub page, so you can just like click through it
Hmm.
like hyperlinks. So maybe we'll do that now. But also I don't I don't know if I'm gonna be able to solve it because right, it's number one, the world's most challenging puzzle according to the subtitle.
Mhm.
And number two, there was a contest running with it for a while. This came out in 1985, I think. I don't know if I mentioned that, but there's a contest running with it when it first came out, where you'd win some money if you if you solved the puzzle, and I'm not sure that anyone ever did, or at least not publicly.
Like
Oh,
So
nobody's ever solved the puzzle.
I don't think they ever got the reward for it. So
Okay.
so is this not a
um,
situation where the like back of the book has the solution kind of thing? It's like you
no, it's much weirder than that. And I think it's
okay.
there's a book that I loved as a kid that was very formative to me. I think I have it somewhere in my apartment, a copy of it, called Puzzle Island, which was like a
Mm.
picture book where you went through and you had to like find all these animals in each page. But there was also a bigger puzzle where there was like secret pictures in it, and you could like figure out like pieces of the puzzle on each page, and as you like built it up, then you learned that there was like a huge puzzle that had to do with the entire book. And so this is giving me that same kind of a vibe. Obviously that was for children and was much easier to solve than this. But I just, I find this very cool, and a lot to think about. uh right, and a they were still making cool stuff before video games existed. And so I think that we
Mhm.
can look at blending digital and physical experiences together to tell new types of stories and create new types of gameplay experiences.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that is my bonus game, Maze.
Sick. I want to
Let's
look
go to
at
the
this book sometime.
yes, absolutely. Um, all right, here we go. Flipping a coin for Chris or Nathan. Back and forth, back and forth. It is Chris.
Okay. My honorable mention game, which was not released this year, is sports gambling.
Here we go.
I threw up. I vetoed the woes or whatever of sports gambling video that was in the playlist,
It was an
and
expose
instead decided,
by 60 Minutes about the the dangers of sports gambling. That was my initial trailer that I was going to play here, but
And I instead decided to put up something that makes me incredibly happy, which is the Indiana Pacers' many amazing comebacks from this last year's NBA playoffs. You may ask why this? Well, I made a lot of money on these amazing comebacks for one, but for two, it makes me smile. It was a cool run until it wasn't. When their star player tore his Achilles halfway through the first quarter of Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and that was a very depressing sports moment for me. But anyway, I say this as my honorable mention because this is the game that I am like most competitive about, and the reason for that should be pretty obvious. The stakes are money. And it's been, Pacers notwithstanding, a really fun year for Indiana sports in general. I right now, as this is airing, if you see me look away, IU is in the National Football Championship for the first time in their program's history. Perennially bad, maybe the worst, most losingest college football program of all time. In 2 years, they got a new coach. In the last 2 years, they got a new coach, and now are incredible. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it in sports. Also made a lot of money on this run. It's not going great right now. I will say that out loud. They're not currently covering the spread, but it's okay. If they win the game, I'll be very, very happy. And the Colts were interesting too this year. Not that I made a lot of money on that. I typically I bet a lot on the NFL. I follow a bunch of different sort of like podcasts and angles and sports, and it's a really unique game in the sense that there is this sort of like there are professionals who make their money doing this, and then there are people who like this is their hobby, they're interested in sports, and they want to have a little bit of an extra reason to be excited and interested in the game that they're watching on a given night. And then there's people in between like me where you do some research and do some modeling or whatever, and try to project things based on a bunch of different factors from which players are healthy, which units match up well against each other in a team, what have been the sort of like point differentials throughout the year, like what's the weather like, something that greatly affects football games if something is cold or windy, since a lot of these games are played outdoors. It is definitely something I do because it makes games very interesting that you might not otherwise be interested in. It hasn't completely ruined sports for me outside of that. Like I can watch sports that are high stakes without having money on it, which tells me that I have a vested interest, but not an addiction.
Telling
And
yourself.
I will say also, like, it is obviously an incredibly problematic, predatory, advertised everywhere type problem that like cigarettes had
Mm.
before they were clapped back against. Like it is real bad if you don't have self-restraint. The way that I gamble is I bet high amounts on basically straight bets, which are like they'll give you a line for a given game. For example, the national championship tonight with IU versus Miami, the line was IU was favored by 7.5 points. So effectively, you can bet IU to win by more than 7.5 points, and you'll get about even money back on your bet, or you'll bet Miami to lose by not more than 7.5 points, and you'll get your money back, or double your money, I guess. So it's like kind of a 1-to-1 bet with a little bit going back, because that's how casinos partially make their money. There are lots of other mechanisms for betting, like parlay is like putting multiple things that need to happen together in order for you to make your money. People look at that and they'll say like, oh my God, if I put $50 on these 10 things to happen, I'll make $2,000. Like, how could I afford not to do? Like, that's where the predatory factor comes in, because if you flip it, I mean, you can see it even with like the rolling that we had today with the randomness wheel. You flip a coin enough times, like it's not always going to come up heads for you, right? So if a lot of these things are presumably 50-50, either because they're set correctly relative to what available statistics are possessed, or you have stuff that's longer than that, like you can't expect to win a coin flip more than 50% of the time, and with the cut that the casino takes even on straight bets, you have to be 60% of the time right, roughly, to be in the money long term, which sounds like not a lot, but it is, because getting a 60% of the time coin flip is that's not how coins flip. That's not how coins flip, right? So yeah, been a really fun run. I've had a really fun time betting on the NFL, especially the playoffs. Been pretty, pretty lucrative. Not like swimming in it. I'm definitely not like I'm not better than professional bettors in terms of a 60% clip or anything like that. But this is also a year where I've like leaned into bets that I like a lot more instead of sort of like spreading across a lot of different things. Like, so yeah, it's been really sick. I've had a good time. And I will keep doing it until they regulate it harder. One of the reasons why I think this is a game of the year for 2025 and maybe not going forward is the United States just passed a bill which for the upcoming year, which will take 10% taxation on your gambling losses, which you were already throwing your money away to some extent. To throw your money away and 10% on top of that. Certainly I think is a push towards, I think, the right regulation in terms of like, really don't make this something that you're stupid about. But it's also,
No.
if I want to be done with my money, I want to be done with my money and not also send it to the government.
Wait, so they're taxing the addicted people who are losing all their money, and
They're
not the
taxing
companies
losses.
that are exploiting
Yeah,
them?
who actually pays that though?
That doesn't make any sense to me.
I haven't seen how it's gonna like manifest yet, but it doesn't make any sense to me. It's sort of like it almost feels like the overdraft fees. It's like, oh, you
Mhm.
overdrew your account. Now you owe us some money. It's like, clearly I don't have the money because I overdrafted my account. So yeah, I don't know the full details of it. I just know that like some of the professional bettors I follow are like, yeah, everyone's fucked and I'm in Cancun now because I'm not dealing with this.
Well, that's not the sort of regulation that I would like to see. I still don't fully understand. I've like tried to look this up multiple times about how sports betting is suddenly legal when it was like very clearly illegal.
It
uh
was basically just these companies doing it to the point, like going right up to the edge and then just fucking doing it
right, the
and
Uber
making
model.
so much money and advertising so much that they just like kind of did it.
Yeah. But now they
Just as you
are
said that, by the
sponsors
way,
of major, sporting events, which is
That's the thing that I find completely disgusting. I mean,
it's
I find a
crazy.
lot of it, but
Yeah.
like seeing a FanDuel bet on the stage, like no, that should not be, that should not fucking be there. I also got like a FanDuel ad in Venmo yesterday. I was like, how?
Oh,
I'm
I
not
got
gonna
that too. I got
I'm not
that
gonna
too,
trust
actually.
you as a
Yeah.
fucking financial institution if you're gonna give me gambling ads. Like, fuck you, Venmo. Absolutely not.
right.
That is pretty bonkers. I got that as well in Venmo yesterday.
It's like seeing
Yeah, it's
pharmaceutical ads in, a doctor's office. It's like this is clearly a conflict of
It's worse.
interest.
It's like seeing a cigarette ad in a doctor's office. It's
Right.
like this
Well,
thing is
yeah, I mean, yeah.
both bad,
Or like
both problematic.
liposuction or so, there's all
Yeah,
sorts of cosmetic treatments that are bad for you that uh that are advertised in doctors' offices. But yeah, no, I
yeah.
agree.
There
And
was some degree of this that is like smaller form gambling has existed in a lot of different, like if you think about like the Madness brackets or like fantasy football or like those things as being like commonly legal. And then I think the logical progression in terms of, just to answer the question you're posing, of like this going from totally illegal to like somewhat illegal, I think had something to do with that progression of those like fantasy football leagues, for example, being online and facilitated there, and then it going from it being something that happened in sort of your immediate social circle to something that was facilitated by these larger organizations, and that sort of getting a foot in the door. How like FanDuel and DraftKings and stuff have specifically done this, I would have to look more into it. But my understanding is that without a physical casino in the state for a lot of these organizations, you can't also have online gambling facilitated by that organization. Like, for example, there's a Hard Rock casino in Florida, and that is the only place where you can gamble with the Hard Rock app. And there's like,
Hmm.
geographical tracking on these sorts of things. I notice this a lot when I'm like, driving in between here in North Carolina and I'm like making bets. It makes you, re-sign in from what state you're gambling from to ensure that it's legal and it's legal for that specific platform.
Yeah, I think the problem that you were kind of alluding to there is the access is so ubiquitous now, and the
Mhm.
the amount of gambling, especially in the U.S., has skyrocketed in the last couple
Oh,
of
it's
years,
astronomical.
and
Astronomical.
it's that's it just goes to show you, like, yes, of course, these things will never go away. There's always going to be gambling and betting on sports. But if you make it very easy to do, then so many more people who would never do it are going to get into it. And that's really a problem, uh, not just for people with addictive personalities or, people who have no self restraint, but really for everyone, because these are, as we know, we're game designers. These things are explicitly designed to prey on people. Um,
Yeah.
and it's not good that
A lot of the
we have
UI
this.
and incentives too are built into this. To your point, like from a game design perspective, if you open DraftKings right now, there'll be a great new user promotion. Bet $5, get $200, or whatever their promotion is right now. Then every promotion you have after that are things like get a profit boost on your 5-leg parlay. So that's what I was talking about before, is like 5 things have to happen your way for this to happen. It'll be something like bet $5, get $100, but get a boost on that. And it'll be like bet $5, get $200. It's like, it's still trying to win 5 coin flips simultaneously. But that's where they'll put all their sort of like extra boosts on to encourage you to spend your money in that space to get the benefit of what they're demonstrating as a benefit from like a pure design and predatory perspective, which is again part of the reason why I like straight bets, because I feel like I have a little bit more power over my decision making, as opposed to like betting a long odds parlay is like it's like buying a lottery ticket, whereas like betting a straight bet is like flipping a coin that you did some research on to maybe get it to, you look at historical trends or something. It's like, oh, like in this spot, this team against this team, or this quarterback against this quarterback, like covers at a 60% clip. It's like, okay, I've got, the trend there. Obviously, things can always go wrong, and 40% is not nothing. But yeah, the design explicitly of these apps is horrible. If you don't have any self-restraint, it's right there. It's like having heroin in your pocket at all times in terms of like a dopamine hit.
Well, I will be interested to see how this new legislation actually plays out. It seems like it is not actually designed uh to diminish sports betting at all. Um but we'll see. And I am not hopeful in this current administration and their desire to do anything for the social good. So, I guess what could be more 2025 than that?
Well, as we were chatting, Indiana scored a touchdown that puts them over the negative 7.5 spread. So let's hope this holds.
Is that good? That's good.
That's
Good.
good. That's good.
So
Also, it
happy
means
for
they'll
you.
win the national championship for the first time in their history, which is even more. If I lose the bet and they win the game, I will be still tremendously happy. This is incredible. I feel like I'm dreaming. I didn't even go to IU. I don't know. I used to tailgate with my parents. They used to have like a spot. It was awesome. They used to say of the fans, back when their program was awful, they never lost a tailgate, which is true. They are very, very fun tailgates.
Love it. All right, let's move on to our final bonus game, which
Hey,
is, of course, Nathan's.
yeah.
And we have Neva.
Neva. Um, Neva. I never play. Is it Greece? Gris?
I believe it is Greece. I believe it's Spanish. They are.
That's what I thought it was.
I think they're a Spain studio, Nomada,
Okay. They're okay. Well,
and
this game is.
Neva is snow in Spanish.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. So Neva is a game that is absolutely gorgeous. It is. I think pretty. I'd say like anime inspired. There's a lot of like kind of anime like themes and tropes and monsters in it. Yeah, like these guys. Yeah, it's kind of an action platformer. It is very much a game that is centered around your relationship with your companion, who is this kind of like wolf, fox, deer thingy named Neva. And you find them when they're a puppy, and the season is kind of the game is split into seasons, and so kind of you see Neva grow up in not real time, but throughout the course of the story in a very kind of natural cyclical, like tying together the relationship with the character and the passing of the seasons and the cyclical nature of time. And it's kind of a bittersweet game. It's a but it's a beautiful and fun game and meaningful game, I'd say, in its bittersweetness.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. I played this last year, and yeah, I was okay on Greece. I think that was a nice game, but this one I think was just like an amping up on all levels. On presentation, on gameplay, on storytelling. Uh, it helps that you have a cute little critter for sure. Um, Even though it's like exploring kind of similar themes in a lot of way.
Mm.
But it's just really exciting to play, right? Like they're very emotional game makers, and I think
Mhm.
that this uh is a worthwhile play for sure.
This looks like Mononoke, the game for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah, there's
Uh,
definitely a bit of that to it.
in a great way, obviously. I
Yeah.
love Princess Mononoke, but just like the animal companion, the relationship to nature. Some of those
Mhm.
bad guys look very Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's lovely. It's also nice to see too, like some of these backgrounds, just like how much you can get away with just like very simple but thoughtful orientate, like this for example, right? Like it's very detailed, but it's also very simple,
Right.
and it
It's a lot of
gives
layers,
a
a lot
lot
of
of
shapes, a lot of texture.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also a bit of brothers in it. I would say a Tale of Two Sons, because there's some
Mm.
mechanical storytelling in as your little
Yes.
friend grows
Yes.
up, you get to do more stuff, and
Yeah.
if they're not always with you, you can't do that
Yeah.
stuff.
Right. And you feel the not only the mechanical frustration not even being able to do the thing you want to do, but like an emotional, like Neva was there for me before, or and I can't do that now. Yeah.
Hmm.
Neva's also a badass. Like they can jump around the screen, they like grab the monster's neck and are like tossing them around and like yeah, Neva rocks.
Teleporting and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's again, it's a pretty short game, but a very
Mhm.
impactful one.
Yeah, yeah.
So definitely go play this one too. I think yeah, we really um looked at a lot of indie games this year, which last year I think we had a lot more AAA. Um, but like for sure, um, well, before I wrap up, anyone have anything else to say about Neva?
You're good.
Good. Okay.
No, I
So
want to play it again.
I
That's
know
all. Just
it's cute.
looking at it.
Um, yeah, we didn't even get to some of the best indie games of the year, I would say, right? We didn't talk about Clear Obscure. Expedition 33, which we all played and quite enjoyed.
Mhm.
I didn't talk about
Mhm.
Silk Song, which I loved. But yeah, there's so many good indie games. Hades 2 we didn't talk about.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like that came out this year that it was really, I think, nice to be able to focus on some smaller ones that we wanted to help bring some attention to, because
Yeah.
all of those other ones that I just mentioned were have gotten a lot of attention. Um, and I hope that we continue to see, the indie game community grow in 2026.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, great year for games and insane year for games, honestly. Uh, I watched some of the award shows, not as closely as you guys, but I watched them year over year. And this year in particular, just like looking at like the nominees for some of these things, I was just like any of these in a slight off year could or should be the game of year.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that they're up against like absolute heavyweights. Yeah, just there's still so many on the list that I want to play. I mean, I mentioned in the pre notes like stuff I need to finish, but also like I really want to play Hades too.
Yeah.
I now want to play Sorry We're Closed. That's now in my queue. Lots of things that I just didn't have time for. It was a weird kind of different year for gaming for me in general, but maybe the wrong time to not be like in front of a big TV with all my consoles. And able to play some of these awesome titles.
Absolutely. So that is our game of year discussion for 2025 wrapped.
Woo!
Keep an eye out. We will be writing up our individual thoughts on these as well, coming out pretty soon. We'll have some more discussions coming up, some more news about our upcoming games, which we're hard at
Mhm.
work on. You can find all of those things at patreon.com/upatnightgames. Join for free to get on our mailing list. And yeah, that was a great year. Looking forward to the next one. And maybe one of our games will be up there. So,
Is that cheating? If we Oh, you mean the real award shows. I thought you meant our end of year wrap.
But why not both?
yeah, why not
That's
both?
true. Super
Uh
fair.
huh.
Cool.
Sweet. That'll do it
There you go.
from all of us here
Bye.
at Up at Night. Hope you have a good rest of yours.